Taking a look at number 19, I know that a history class is made up of 12 10th graders and 9 11th graders. So let's write that down. 12 10th graders and 9 11th graders. The 10th graders up here averaged, and they averaged 77 on the midterm. 9 11th graders averaged 91 on the midterm. So what was the average grade of the midterm exam for the entire class? Now, we want to look at the word average. An average is going to be some part over some total. So in this part and total, we're looking at grades. So we're adding grades and we're dividing them by the number of students. And so that's going to give us the average for all the students. Well, they don't really tell us what their grades are, but because we know this formula for the average, we can start figuring out what the grades are. So the average for the 10th graders is 77. And so you get that average by the number of grades, right? The grades all added up. So the sum of the grades. And you want to divide that by the number of students. And so that's going to be, up here too, divided by the number of students. So the sum of the grades divided by the number of the students. And so in this case, it's going to be 9. And it's going to be the sum of grades for all 10th graders. So we take the sum of grades for all 10th graders. Oh, and in this case, we're working on 10th, so it has to be 12, right? So the sum of grades for all 10th graders divided by the number of 10th graders. So in this case, this is also 10th graders. And they told us that that equals 77. So they didn't tell us what their grades were or how much their grades were added up, but they gave us this proportion or this equation, right? So we can figure out the sum of all the grades by multiplying both sides by 12. So you're going to get the sum of all the grades for the 10th graders, and we know that that is equal to 12 times 77. We want to figure out the sum of grades for all 11th graders too. I know that that's divided by 9, which is the total number of 11th graders, and they tell me that their average for the midterm was a 91. So again, I want to undo that division. So we have the sum of all the 11th graders, multiply both sides by 9, and that's going to equal 91 times 9. Now, if I wanted to figure out the sum of, or if I wanted to figure out the average on the midterm for everybody, right? It's asking what was the average grade on the midterm for the entire class. I would have to add all the 11th graders' grades and all the 10th graders' grades. So I don't really know what that is, but I know I can represent it as 12 times 7, and I can represent it as 91 times 9. So let's add these grades together. And I know that all of that is divided by the total number of students, so 12 plus 9. And so we want to take out our calculator, right? And so let's start plugging in some numbers. So we have 12 times 77, and that's going to give us 924. Let's multiply 91 times 9, and we'll get 819. Then we want to divide that sum by 12 plus 9, which is 21. So 924, 924 plus 819 is 1,743, and that's divided by 21. In our calculator, if we were to divide 1,743 by 21, we would get 83. And so this is a very roundabout way of doing it, but we're able to find the average score, or the average midterm grade for the entire class is 83.